Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in again. John Flynn here from Flynn Real Estate, serving Southern Ontario. This week I'm going to talk about the rental market, and I get a lot of questions that ask where are rent prices going to go, are they going to go down, and things like that. So I figured I'd just kind of do a general video on the rental market. Next week I will have the full June statistics and an update to see how June ended up playing out. But this week, let's focus on rentals and renting. So full disclosure, I don't own any rentals. I used to own rentals. I sold them. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but I just want to keep where my bias may or may not be. But anyway, let's get into this week's info. The rental statistics, they're tough to get because they're coming from different sources, whether it's, rental websites or the MLS and whatnot. So it's hard to find consistency and accurate numbers, but I got what I could. So these may or may not apply to your area, but I'm going to tell you where I got them and we'll go from there. First, I want to get into home ownership rates. And it looks like, from what I can find, home ownership rate has actually increased in Canada in the last 30, 40 years. Here's one from Ibis World, and you can see we've gone from about 62.5% home ownership rate to over 70%, just over 70 now. I have another graph that shows a similar trend. So again, home ownership is up, and we'll see how that plays into the rest of the data. Here's another one from the same website or same company, the annual change of home ownership rates, and you can see in 2008, of course, that went down after the financial crisis, and then it peaked back up. It's been fluctuating more to the upside than it has to the downside, so more people are owning homes in Canada. This is all Canadian statistics. And of course, here's another one that actually shows the numbers from 1971 to 2011, and we went from about 60% to 69% in 2011, and this was from Statistics Canada. And again, trying to find some information from various sources on rental rates in historic data and whatnot. So rentals.ca had some information, but this is based off of people that list on their site. So it doesn't include like all data, right? Just what they get. They have it in red where it's expensive, and green is affordable or less expensive. And of course, in the prairies in Alberta, it's more affordable than in BC or Ontario, and Quebec's kind of in between. And the most expensive place to rent is Vancouver. Toronto's right underneath it. And the least expensive, as we just saw, is Winnipeg, Edmonton, and whatnot. And you can see the rates for a single family, just under $4,500 in Vancouver, and it's $1,780 or just under $1,800 in places like Winnipeg. This was a pretty interesting one I came across, and this was the average rent and annual change in average rent for condo and rental apartments. So just for condos and apartments. And you can see in 2022, they really did jump a lot. Vancouver had a 23.1% year over year increase. But every region in Canada has, that they show here, has gone up year over year. And I'll put the source for this in the description. So, okay, then I had to get my numbers from my local system or my system in Ontario to see, get some accurate readings on what's happened in the rental market. How has it changed, and how does it compare to sales, right? We got to compare somehow. Again, this is MLS rentals for most of Ontario, not including GTA, so it excludes GTA, but it does include most of the places surrounding it, with a few exceptions. And you can see here, this is the number of MLS rental transactions, or number of places that have been rented through MLS. This was pretty crazy, just to show you like the change. And this, prior to 2012, it was a very similar trend, like 100, 200, 300 a year throughout of all these areas. This is all the areas that are on our ITSO system. And here's the areas. I'm going to put them on the screen so you know what I'm talking about, so I don't have to go through it every time. But there's over an 1,800% increase from 2012 to 2021 on rentals on MLS. So we went from like 300 up until 2015 to 43, just under 4,400 in 2021. Like, that's huge. This isn't a trend that like it goes up and down. This was always very low, and then it just shot up. And of course, what else shot up in 2015, 2016? The prices, right? That's when we started to see some rapid price growth in the housing market. And of course, the rentals reflect that. So again, a huge increase in rentals. And of course, with the supply and demand issue and investors buying up these properties to rent them out, it shows it here in the graph. This is why there were so many more. And I'm going to put this side by side with the last graph just so you can see. Both of them should be up here. The number of sales in Ontario in that same time period. So we've had a very similar amount of sales, 20 to 30%, difference between the highs and the lows, compared to the number of rentals. So it's not like our sales have gone up 1,800% in that time frame. So same time frame, same data, same boards that are included. And here is, again, based on the same data on our MLS system, rental prices, all property types in Ontario, excluding GTA. We have the increase from 2012 to 2022. I can include 2022 because it's an average, it's a running average. And we went up 74% increase in that time in about 11 or 10 and a half years. And when we compare that to sale prices, average sale prices for the same area, same properties, we went up 199% from 2012 to 2022. Big difference, right? Rentals actually have remained somewhat affordable compared to, and it's affordable compared to the real estate market. I'm not saying that rental prices haven't skyrocketed, but compared to the sales, it's a third, almost a third of what it was or what it is compared to that. So yeah, in my research, I did find some pretty interesting information with regards to like what's the ownership rate, how many people own them, or what percentage of the population owns rental properties, because they're such a hot commodity and everybody's doing it, right? So Landlord Nation, this is from Better Dwelling, over 1 in 6 Canadian homeowners own multiple properties. And they have 4 provinces. They haven't done the other ones. This is all they had, and they got this from Statistics Canada. I think it was from the 2016 census. It could have been the 2020, but I think it was the 2016. And you can see here, Nova Scotia has 21.6% of homeowners own multiple properties, but 15% of homeowners in Ontario own multiple properties. So pretty significant numbers. Another way to look at it is the share of Canadian housing stock held by owners of multiple properties, of multiple homes. 30 to 40% in these 4 provinces, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Ontario, BC, 30 to 40% of the housing stock is owned by owners of multiple homes, which is pretty significant. Another article from BNN Bloomberg, investors own nearly a third of homes in major Canadian markets. So again, huge percentage of investors, which I always touch on, right? And we can't, it's hard to quantify it, but I'm trying to drill down and get some information, and it's pretty significant. And from Czech News, Statistics Canada says multiple property holders own upwards of 41% of housing in some provinces. And this is back to that information from Statistics Canada and the 4 provinces that we looked at. Okay, so with all that being said, where are prices going to go? And again, this is my opinion, and there's no historical data on where they go. They're usually pretty consistent. So prices have gone up. They're $2,500 on average for the average rental in Ontario, and that's all property types. Will they go down? I don't see them going down significantly in the short term. They might go down a few $100s. We might get that back to maybe $2,200 a month for the average. So we might pull back a bit on rental prices. But in my opinion, I think that any rental price correction is going to come after any sale price correction. So it's a lagging indicator in my opinion. Once the real estate market cools significantly, it started to cool, but not significantly yet, you'll see more people that may jump into the market. They may displace some people that have lost their homes. So you might not see an increase in home ownership rates, because many people will lose their homes and be forced to rent, and many people that are renting will be able to buy now. But I think that after that transition happens, and after the home sale prices go down and the dynamics shift between the renters are going to become owners and some of those owners are going to become renters, I think you will see a downward slide in rental prices by a bit. They haven't shot up from what I can see. So bad news for renters that, the rental prices aren't going to go down because they're still relatively affordable compared to real estate, right? So all in all, not a lot of positive news for tenants at this time. Yeah, you'll probably be able to look around and get a better deal. And right now you might be paying top dollar, and you'll probably, depending on your situation, if you rented at the peak, say in February or even this year, you might be able to save yourself, $300 to $500. But everything else is inflated. I don't see us going back to 2012 levels for rental prices, just because the cost of servicing debt was going to be so much higher, and everything else. So anyway, let me know what you think, and if you have any input to this. It was a tough one to analyze because there's a lot of variables, but ultimately rent prices are controlled by home prices, and luckily they haven't shot up at the same rate that homes have. That being said, I believe that, again, it justifies a pullback in the home sales market, because did those people that bought homes at the 199% of what they were from 2012, they're not going to be able to break even or cover their expenses because the rental prices won't keep increasing, and they haven't increased at the rate of the home prices. So just keep that in consideration, whether you're thinking about renting, buying, whatever. The correction, it does justify a correction in the sales market, and the rental market will just keep plugging on with a little bit of downside price action. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, share your comments, share the video, like the video. I appreciate, again, everyone that watches and all the feedback I get. Until next week, have a good day.